Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. So yesterday, I just applied for credit limit increases, and I got another one. So you see this $5,000 credit limit increase for Chase Slate, and so just this one card alone has a total credit limit of 11,500. Now, if you tally up all of the credit that I have, readily available lines of credit, um, it tallies up to 2008 2840, no, I'm sorry, $284,000 in credit limits, right? And you might be thinking that is so much, right? Like how did you get that? And here's the secret, okay? Every time I apply for credit, if I ever feel like, "Oh my goodness, I need the money today, so I'm going to go to a bank," I completely refrain from applying from credit because, and I always talk about this in every single video, banks don't lend money to people who need it. Heck, they might not even, they might deny you even if you don't need the money, right? Because I applied actually to three places for credit limit increases and I got denied for two of them. But one of them, I did get the extra $5,000. And if you always do it at a point in your life where you don't need the money, then they'll eventually give you, you'll be, assuming you have the income, of course, because even if you have a great 800 credit score, but like you don't have either a job or a source of income, and side note, this is my understanding, banks don't like self-employed people, right? But if you're at a point in your life where, hey, like, you don't need the money and you have some income coming in, well, that's probably the best time to apply, right? And that's what I do from time to time. And here's the other thing: you can't be afraid just because you're going to get a hard pull that, and you get denied that, oh, that's going to prevent you from getting more credit. Because here's the thing: I actually applied for a credit limit increase on this little itty bitty $800 line of credit, and they denied me, and it resulted in a hard pull. But that's just really what you got to do, right? You got to apply. And so many people are like, "What's the best bank?" And here's the thing: what is the best bank to get credit from? It's the one that's actually going to give it to you. I know it sounds kind of like a sarcastic answer, but it's true. If I get credit from a bank, and I don't know if they're actually going to lend to me or not, but I know my chances go way up when I don't need the money, right? I always apply when I don't need the money. Do it about every 1 to 3 months, right? Obviously, I take a look at my credit report. I don't want like 20 hard pulls, but I always do it when I don't need the money because, again, gotta emphasize this, that banks don't lend money to people who need it. They don't. Right? The moment that, even if you make good income and you're like, oh my goodness, I could totally use a HELOC or a line of credit, personal line of credit through Velocity Banking, they ain't ever going to do it. That's why you need to learn these things before you get, build a foundation first before you start taking on some debt. And a lot of people, for some reason, um, they just don't want to do that, right? And another thing that we have to consider is that, what are the best banks to, where can we find these banks or credit unions to who will lend money to me? Now here's the thing: I don't know if you ever heard of those advertisements, or it's like hot girls are looking for you, right? Just replace hot girls with credit unions. And the federal government has created a tool to let you locate the credit unions, not even the banks, but just the credit unions, right? So if I type in National Credit Union Locator, again, there's the equivalent of the FDIC for credit unions, which is the NCUA, and they have a credit union locator. Okay, this is from the federal government, and so if you just type in like an address or whatever, and I just say, hey, 30030, I'm sorry, and I'm looking for a credit union, I just click find, right? And then it's going to give me a list. And so I could just hit them up, right? And here's the cool thing about the United States, and I don't know if you knew this or not, and how the US is different from, let's say, a place like Canada. Again, I've never been to Canada, but this is what I heard. Canada only has like six banks, right? The US, just in credit unions, has over more than 4,000. So when someone says like, "Well, I got rejected from one place," and there's 4,000 over 4,000 credit unions in the U.S., I'm to me, that's like you didn't try. You know what I'm saying? At least to me, that's what it feels like. But that's how I find credit unions. Sometimes I find local ones. Sometimes I find ones in random states, like for example, maybe Maryland that does business in Georgia. I actually have my personal line of credit with a credit union in California that has an office in Georgia, right? Or they're originally based in California. So that's pretty much the secret and why it's so easy. Again, all the tools are readily available to you, but the most important thing is yes, you have some income, but number two, you have a good credit profile. And number three, you get it when you don't need it because banks don't lend money to people who need it. So every once in a while, I just wake up, check my pulse, like, hey, do I need credit today? And then if the answer is yes, or do I need money today? If the answer is yes, definitely do not apply. And if the answer is no, I apply. And hey, you still might get rejected, right? Like I still get rejected. This month I got rejected from two other places, but eventually you'll hit a win, and then they'll increase it. Boom, an extra $5,000 on this $11,500 personal credit card, and bam, 200 over $284,000 in lines credit. See how easy that was? But it's just a process that takes place over time. It's not going to happen today, right? You're not going to get credit today if you start out with zero. But that's why it's very important to understand credit. All right, well that's it for today. Have a great day, everybody. Happy Monday. We got over $284,000 in lines of credit, and we good. All right, have a great day, everybody.